Clerk, how many public comments do we have?
We have 17 speakers in person and no hands raised on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, so it should be acceptable to allow everyone to speak the full 3 minutes? Okay, great.
Okay, our first speaker is David Yan, followed by Derchang Cao, Frank Swanson, and Alice Lin, followed by Harvey Wu Sang Jr. Welcome, David, and video, if you could please share my screen.
I do have a presentation. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, planning commissioners, and as well as planning staff. There are really two 30-foot standards that are going to govern this project, as well as justify the legitimacy of the proposal before you tonight. Let's go to the next slide, please. The first is D105. Some of it has already been discussed. And I actually want to thank Mr. Ibrahimi, the Senior VP at Summerhill, for acknowledging just 10 minutes ago that from the grade plane to the eave of the roof, that it is in fact 30 feet, because maybe I won't even have to present this slide. But there's a very clear requirement here that from the grade plane to the highest point of the roof, you guys can read it, I don't need to quote it, that if it's over 30 feet, that it triggers what's called an aerial access apparatus requirement. And what that will require is that the roads inside Evelich Court get expanded from 20 feet as proposed to 26 feet. So we're not just talking about minutia, we're not talking about a nuance. This is a bright line rule, and it addresses squarely the geometry of the entire project. Okay? And so, to quote the attorney, it's more likely than not, based on this drawing that was provided to me from Fire, that something is amiss. I encourage everybody to take a look at it. The code defines the measurement. It's not a preference. It's not a planning staff opinion of what is reasonable, and you cannot just defer to Fire. You have a responsibility here. The planning staff has a responsibility to review it. Next slide, please. Okay, the second 30-foot standard which governs this project is the horizontal setback. We talked about density bonus waivers and height waivers not necessarily conflicting with the general plan. That's actually correct. However, AB 130 says that there's a 30-foot setback that has to take place, and they've reduced that down to 10 feet. That can only happen if you have equivalent fire mitigating standards equivalent to the existing standards. So essentially, if you read the AB 30 memo, they have proved compliance with the existing standard by waiving it. Okay, and what the actual requirement is that you need an equivalence finding, okay, to make it exactly the same from a risk standpoint as it would have been had you not reduced the setback.
Thank you, David. That is your time. Our next speaker is Derchang Cao, Frank Swanson, and Alice Lin, followed by Harvey Wu Sang Jr.
Okay, good evening, commissioners. My name is Derchang Cao, and
Frank Swanson.
Sorry,
Alice Lin.
so we are the residents of the Linda Vista corridor. As you can see on our second slide, if you can move to the second slide, the core issue is a fundamental shift in the safety data. Okay, the parcel was rezoned R3 based on 2007 fire map. However, in March 2025, CAL FIRE updated the fundamental change. That is a fundamental change of the safety baseline. Okay, we are now in a high-risk environment where the spread at the rate of the 200 acre in 20 minutes. This is the sovereign data that we learned from Pacific Palisades fire. Okay, so in this new reality, the 30 minutes evacuation window isn't a goal. It is a survival requirement. Having said that, the developers report on the Hexagon transportation consultant suggests that the project add, if you can move to slide 5, five, okay? 5, number 5, okay? Is less than the, has less than 1 second of the delay to our road. No, the next slides. But look at the data on the slides 5, Hescon's model. They only provide a Tuesday morning commute with additional 30 cars per hour, okay? In the wildfire, we are facing the emergency surge of the 250 vehicle attempting to exit a single access spine, Linda Vista Drive, in 30 minutes, again, the critical 30 minutes. Furthermore, the developer study ignored what happened when power goes out. In a disaster, all intersections default to four-way stops. This drops our road capacity another 50%. Okay? This is a critical factor that developed, complete, omitted. So if you can go to slide 3, using the standard traffic engineering principle, okay? I'm an engineer, so I love number. I provide all the detailed number for the model. Using this, the principle, we model a utilization ratio for the project as shown in the slide 3. The R3 density push our road to 110% of the capacity. So what that mean? In the engineering, a ratio over 100% means a system failure. It creates a standing queue where a car arrive faster than the intersection can process them. This is just not the traffic jam. The model says it's 45 plus minutes of queuing delay. Plus, think about coming out from the Avalanche Court. You got the 51 units car want to kind of merging into the Linda Vista. This is this is narrow road. This create another 28 minutes of the merging battle. The result is a total order to safety time of 90 plus minutes. Okay? So you are asking 155 families to wait more than an hour and 30 minutes in the tunnel of fire. It's an objective, quantifiable hazard to human life. So in summary, under the SB 333, the city must deny the proposal if there is specific adverse impact on public safety. We urge the commission to reject the proposal and instead consider a low-density alternative to maintain a safe utilization ratio below 50%. Our model provides mathematical proof of this impact. We strongly suggest you direct the developer to consult with a reputable wildfire evacuation expert for a comprehensive cumulative corridor study of evacuation. We must keep the evacuation window within the critical 30 minutes safety threshold. Please do not approve this project. Logically and mathematically guarantee a bottleneck during our neighborhood's most desperate hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Harvey Wu Sang Jr., followed by Al Spencer, followed by Patrick Sweeney.
It's Henry, not Harvey. And do you have my slides, or shall I present them?
Yes, we have your slides.
Okay. Can you display them? Okay, great. So my name is Henry Sang. I'm a resident of 38 years, and I'm also working with a group of volunteers as an ad hoc resident wildfire committee. Next slide, please. The groups that are represented in that are shown in red on this map, and they're primarily HOAs and other housing units. We are conducting surveys, we're doing tours, we're going around inspection, we're writing a report on the issues, as well as doing an educational series. Next slide, please. We've seen this. Let's go to the next slide already. The main thing that we're looking about is the red zone, the fact it's a very high danger zone. The Stevens Creek Trail that is directly next to this represents actually the wildfire to urban interface. And as many of you may know, about 20 years ago, Linda Vista Park had a wildfire event with, red dropping stuff and helicopters and all that type of thing. And the fact that it's a multiplex, it defines a very heavy fuel load that is problematic for radiant heat on our neighboring houses. And because of that, we worry about a domino effect. So next slide, please. Just to show you what the Stevens Creek Trail looked like about 2 weeks ago, there's a fairly significant fuel burden along that trail that's very dangerous. And this is right at the end of where the canyon is going to blow embers. So we have a very high probability event there. Next slide, please. So for recommendations, we would like to see all of the decks and balconies made of Class A rated materials, not just that they be having sprinklers, that also the CCNRs for the HOA forbid violations by the owners of Zone 0 and Zone 1 restrictions, and that we have a minimum provision for fire department access to the sides of approximately 20 feet. Also, all of the fences and walls should be built out of Class A materials, and that we will see where they have no flat roofs, but gutters, valleys, and everything with ember proofing. In addition to the doors being wildfire safe, we'd like to see all of the windows to be wildfire safe, and that the HOA consider providing for fuel reduction and maintenance along that Stevens Creek Trail, and that any building heights that are higher than what the existing ladder trucks can handle, that the HOA provides for fire equipment or compatible buildings, or another solution of some sort, such as foam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. Our next speaker is Al Spencer, followed by Patrick Sweeney, followed by Keith Kreft. Welcome, Al.
I just have a couple of comments. Looking at this thing, the existing neighborhood contains a lot of three-bedroom, single-story homes. It seems to me that we ought to be including a lot of three-bedrooms home in this development. Quite possibly, if we put them on the ends next to adjacent buildings, you could lower the height in that area with it. The second thing is that with this many units and this many bedrooms, I expect there to be at least 100 children in this neighborhood that want a place to play. I don't see it in this development. I think the Planning Commission should find a way to provide recreation for these kids. I think there's going to be a problem there. The third thing is that my end of the street fills up with cars when any single home has a party. Where are the people that are visiting these people going to park? We need to make sure there's adequate provision for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Our next speaker is Patrick Sweeney, followed by Keith Kreft, followed by Jennifer Griffin. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I don't want to get into the facts of my previous speakers, but I do have some experience on the fire resistance. My brother-in-law lives in Forest Ranch, my sister along with him. Forest Ranch was a victim of the Park Fire this past fall. The Park Fire started in Bidwell Park in Chico and worked its way up a canyon. There was plenty of time for my brother-in-law to evacuate. He decided to stick it out as long as he could. His house was fire safe. He had a defensible perimeter, more than double of what is required. A single-family home with probably 50 feet between the homes. The fire was so hot, it melted his windows in the back. It it would have burned. He had a generator with a sprinkler running 24 hours, and it didn't help. The only thing that saved the home was that there was time for fire crews from various areas. A fire crew from San Luis Obispo saved their home by just coming in the front door, and it made a mess, but they saved the home. In this development, a gated community of about 20 plus homes, 3 homes burned, and the fire crews couldn't save them all. So I just wanted to point out that being defensible with non-combustible materials won't make any difference in a high-density development. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Our next speaker is Keith Kreft, followed by Jennifer Griffin, followed by PK. Welcome, Keith.
This is my first Planning Commission meeting. I want to say thank you for your service. I can see your responsibilities are huge and your decisions are not easy to make. Can you see this overhead?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. I think most of you know the old Sesame Street jingle. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. I'm sure you can identify the anomaly in this picture. This proposed complex does not belong in a single-family residential neighborhood, especially not in one that is already severely impacted with limited access from only 2 directions, the north and the east, and impacted by heavy traffic generated by 3 residential schools. Zoning laws exist for a reason: compatibility. The principle of zoning compatibility was established by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1926. It is the backbone of American land use law, built on the idea that like uses belong together. The court explicitly upheld the right of municipalities to separate incompatible land uses in order to protect the character, design, health, safety, and welfare of residential neighborhoods. Justice Sutherland put it perfectly. Paraphrasing here, the right thing in the wrong place is a nuisance, like a pig in the parlor instead of in the barnyard. Courts have upheld these principles time and time again. We don't need another legal battle to prove what is already well established. We simply need to do the right thing, restore zoning of this property to what it was and what it should be. Find another area to build 40 homes or a 40-unit complex, somewhere appropriate, but don't put a multi-unit complex in a single-family residential zone. And use this property for what it is suited for, a small development of roughly 10 single-family homes. Thank you. I do want to point out that I attended all the meetings that were held by these gentlemen here, and basically they just said, you're stuck with this. So while they engaged the public, they just weren't making any concessions. Everybody was objecting to 51 homes in this small parcel, but they just basically said, it's going to be this way. They also said that all the homes were going to have 2 garages, but there are no driveways. I did a poll in our neighborhood. The average number of cars that end up in a garage is 1, and the average number of cars is more than that. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Griffin, followed by PK, followed by Amin Yazdi. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening, Planning Commission. I'm glad that you all are having this meeting. I'm glad to hear from Summerhill speaking and from the neighbors. This is a very important area, important project. My husband grew up in Monte Vista, attended Monte Vista High School, and I believe it was Kennedy. And one of the remarks about this area is there's like one way in and one way out. And I respect the fact that the fire department has made suggestions about this. I was aware that it had been put into a high fire zone area last summer. And I don't know if you all were aware, within the last 2 years, there were sections of Los Altos that were almost under mandatory evacuation from wildfire. I know someone who lives in that area near my church. I'm appreciative that this project has a very nice, I like the Spanish style. It's very, very refreshing from some of the other things that could have been planned in here. I am a bit worried about the density. I'm worried about evacuation routes. When the fire comes down, you just have to remember Lahaina. We have a family member that lost a house in the Pacific Palisades, and I know someone whose house was completely gone in the CZU fire. The lot is stripped, empty, it's already sold. I just wanted to make a statement that Assemblymember David Alvarez from San Diego has already submitted AB 2433 last week to get the bill in for the 2026 legislative session. And this bill is going to make major changes to the housing density. He's calling it the Affordable Homes Bonus Program, and it would be changing the bonus density completely. I would like to have assurances that this project will not be subject to this new law if it passes and comes into play in January of 2027, because they are using Florida area ratio now. They are completely changing the density bonus. It is, it's spaghetti code, basically, like SB 79. So I would like some assurances that if this project goes through, that they will stay with the current the density bonus, and not go with Mr. Alvarez's new bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our next speaker is PK, followed by Amin Yazdi, followed by Mark Fantozzi. Welcome, PK.
Thank you. Good evening, Planning Commission, Amy and Luke. Thank you for meeting with us several times. And our neighbors here, as well as our Summerhill colleagues. I live on Baxley Court. So for those who have not been to my home, I would like all of you to come and see what it's going to feel like. A 10 feet from my fence is going to be 3-story building overlooking our bedroom, overlooking our family room. What we are asking is that 10 feet needs to go further and 3-story needs to come down. There is really possibility to reduce the number of square footage per home and get what they are looking for, but there is no reason for us to have 3-story building right next to my fence. And what I was also told is between that 3-story tall wall and our fence, there cannot be any trees because there is only 10 feet and fire insurance won't let them plant anything. So I think we really need to be cognizant of the fact that this is going to be reducing our privacy, is going to be impacting our safety. And I'm requesting that it be two-story instead of 3-story, and the setback be increased back to what was expected in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, PK. Our next speaker is Amin Yazdi, followed by Mark Fantozzi, followed by Vakram Saxim. Welcome, Amin.
Actually, we gotta use our.
Okay.
He's gonna use my time.
Okay, thank you. All right, I don't need anything. My name is Mark Fantozzi, and I submitted a written communication which evaluated the project against the general plan and other life safety concerns at the airport. And I want to just basically summarize those as quickly as possible with the limited time we have. First, the project exceeds the 30-foot height limit by about 10 feet 7 inches. And this is in conflict with the Cupertino Municipal Code and the general plan, which only allows buildings taller than 30 feet on arteries or major collectors. Linda Vista is not an arterial connector. Second, the project reduces the 12-foot street setback on Evulich Court to as little as 3 foot 7 inches. That's a reduction of about 8 feet. These are not small adjustments. These are major encroachments into required safety buffers and violates the Cupertino Municipal Code. Third, the project exceeds the allowable FAR ratio with the proposed 136%, over 50% of the objective limit. That's a dramatic intensification of bulk and massing that no neighborhood plan envisioned. Fourth, the private open space dimension fall below the required 6-foot minimum with patios smaller than 4 foot 6 inches, violating the Cupertino Municipal Code. Parking stalls are also undersized at 18 foot 6, which we require 20-foot minimums. These are all objective standards, not subjective ones, and they are not being met. Fifth, as your own staff report confirms, the site is now in a very high fire hazard severity zone, yet no evacuation study was required. The city has no adopted evacuation standards, and emergency access with such narrow setbacks has not been demonstrated. Approving a 40-foot tall, 51-unit project in a very high fire hazard safety zone without evacuation analysis is not consistent with the city's general plan safety policies. Finally, the staff's reliance on AB 130 CEQA exemption is unsupported by substantial evidence. That exemption only applies if a project meets all applicable fire hazard and safety standards. The record does not demonstrate that, especially given the lack of evacuation analysis. In summary, this project fails to meet multiple objective zoning standards and conflicts with the general plan and lacks the required life safety evidence for a CEQA exemption. Now, to put the following into some perspective, I'm an engineer, a registered civil engineer in California. And although I didn't have time to include my review of the transportation study, environmental study, and the biological study, I found significant errors and omissions in each of those reports, to the extent too much to explain here tonight in limited time. But I'm more than happy to meet with planning and go over those documents in detail with what I found out. Furthermore, there was no reporting on fire flow demands and effect on the existing fire systems. There was no drainage study by converting the existing permeable material to nearly 90% impermeable. The bioretention is only designed to handle 85 percentile of a 24-hour rain event. This is 3/4 to 1 inch of rain in a 24-hour period. Based on the last two storms, we've had 2 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. So that water's got to go somewhere. It's going to go in the storm. I respectfully urge the Commission to deny the project as proposed or require a substantial redesign that complies with
Thank you. That is your time.
I thought we had 2 people.
Yes, you had 4 minutes.
Oh, okay.